Hi everyone, happy Monday. This is Michelle Salcho. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Middle Tennessee, and I've got my camera swapped out the wrong way, so we'll start out like this. Now, hi, thanks for being here today. I appreciate you showing me a little love. I'm excited. I've got a project that we're going to do two different ways today, and I was away for the weekend, and I'm still trying to find things in my office, so it's a bit of a mess. And but this is my time to do a Facebook Live, although I am going to give this Facebook Live process a little bit of a facelift over the next few weeks. So you may see some differences and wonder what's going on, but I am, we're continuing this whole COVID thing, and I want to be able just to make sure that I'm bringing you content that is in the best way possible. Those of you that are crafters, I want you to be able to craft with me, and so we're going to switch it up a little bit. As always, I appreciate the love, the shares, the likes. I thank you so very much. Today we have Christmas cards that we're going to do, and like I said, it's pretty much we're just going to do the same two different techniques for doing this. Hey Joyce, it's so good to see you. So we're going to work with the Holly Jolly stamp set today. I love this. I love the holly, and then we're going to use a color palette that might remind a few of you of something from a year or two ago in the holiday catalog. And let me see if this reminds you of anything. So do these colors remind you of anything from there? They may be a little hard to tell. I've got Poppy Parade, Coastal Cabana, Crumb Cake, and White. And we're going to do a rather bold card. And I'm just going to jump over to Facebook and make sure that I'm broadcasting where I think that I am. And then we'll get started. And I am. So let me come back to my sample card. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around. And I'll pop my little face up there in the left corner. I think I'm out of the way over there. So this is the stamp set, and these are our colors. So do you remember when we had the Santa landscape? There were little elves, and there was paper was kind of flocked, and there was a Santa and a North Pole and a Mrs. Claus. The paper was just really cool, but it was these colors, right? So a little different than the traditional red and green. Well, there was green, and there was garden green in there as well. So we are going to use our Coastal Cabana as our card base, and then a layer of Poppy Parade, which is a really bright orangey red, and then a layer of Crumb Cake. We're going to stamp on Crumb Cake, and then we'll use a layer of white on the inside. And we're going to use this gorgeous stamp. Now, this is a two-step stamp, and what that means is you have an outline and then you have a filler. So one of the times that we create this, we're going to use the filler, and the other time we are going to use Stampin' Blends and see how we like that. Now, since I'm coloring on Crumb Cake, I'm a little, okay, see how that works, but we got nothing to lose. It's just paper. Let's just give it a try, okay? So the first thing we need to do is to cut our card base. And you know by now that I like to cut my cards tall. And let's see. Oh, I got so many things in my head spinning around that I need to remember to tell you. First off, I want to give a shout out to Cindy Kessinger. Cindy was the first person to tell me that she would like to receive the card I made last week. So Cindy, you got a Halloween card coming your way in tomorrow's mail. So I hope that you enjoy it thoroughly and have a very blessed Halloween. All right, this layer I'm going to come in 1/4 of an inch. If you would like to receive today's card in the mail, please comment below that you'd like to see it, and then make sure I have your address so that I can send it to you. If I have more people comment than 2 that they'd like to receive the card, then I will do a drawing. All right, so this next layer, actually I wonder if I need to do this one. Let's see. I want that to be a pretty bold layer, so 1/4 of an inch might be a little small. All right, Joyce, fantastic. Thanks for letting me know. And I've got some other things I need to send you in the mail also. I'm actually going to take another 1/4 of an inch off of this. So I'm going to end up with a red layer that is 5 by 3 3/4. Card layers are much easier than you realize. You simply take a 1/4 of an inch off of each, as you move in. Except that I'm going to make this next layer, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that too. Let me make sure I get this off. Now, November is going to be upon us really quickly, and my classes are all posted on my website, which is there highlighted in yellow up above. So that link will take you to my website where you can shop, or you can look for ideas. You can RSVP to classes. Bingo is early in November, so it's in the first half of November. So you're going to need to jump on that pretty quickly. All right. So I'm going to come in another 1/4 of an inch. So this time, this is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Let's see how that looks. So you can play bingo whether you are near to me or far away, because, oops, okay, I suddenly couldn't talk and do that. I mail everything to you. So I've already got the cards picked out. You can add on the stamp set. We're going to be using For Unto Us is the stamp set this time. And it's a gorgeous stamp set. Now I need to cut a label for us to do May Your Season Be Bright. So let's take a look at the possible options for that label. And I want to look at those and these. All right, let's see how we like these. Hi, Denise. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you sharing. If you will PM me your address, or DM. I'm not sure what the difference is in the PM and the DM, but if you will private message or send me your address, and if you'd like to be added to my email list, please let me know, and that way you'll get my newsletter that tells you about my classes. All right, this one is that is a pretty tight fit, it looks like. But, all right, we'll set that there. And let's get out the new cut and emboss machine and get this cut. And I think, oh, it almost fits in my leftovers there. That's really tight. We're just going to grab this other piece of crumb cake and cut a little piece off of it to do the die cutting. So it's exciting to have new people finding us. Last week I sent a message out to my family and friends and ask them to help me out by sharing my page, because I don't get a lot of traffic otherwise. All right, thanks so much, Denise. All right, so this is the, oh gosh, this is the new cut and emboss machine. It's taking up the whole screen. And let's raise this up. And you all will remind me to lower it back down, right? Okay, so this is so cool. It's so pretty and white. And I love that the plates that come with it are all numbered. And the directions are so clear on which ones to use when you're embossing and which ones to use when you are die cutting. Now we're going to die cut. So we're going to need both the base plate and this one that's pretty much a shim. Just adds a little extra tension to get that die cutting down. And we're going to do this twice because we're going to make 2 of these cards. All right. Whoops. I kind of scooted that in, and it's probably fine. Put that one in place. And you guys are going to love how smooth this is. Isn't that perfect? So this is new. It's in the new annual catalog. I haven't had mine very long. And there's a mini one that is coming out. Don't have a solid date for that. But what I started to say is I've got to get my newsletter out because so many things are happening early in November. And you may need to know what's happening in December as well, because, you know, we really don't have a lot of time in December to get together and stamp. And I'll just close this back up. A little loud, sorry about that. Set it aside. Now, let's come back to our card base, our layer, and then we need to get our stamp out. So I'm going to use, how is the weather? The weather is quite chilly, but it is not snowing. I understand from some people I was talking at my work today that they were expecting snow in Texas. How crazy is that? So yeah, that was a bit of a, oh my gosh, what a wake up. But it has been kind of rainy and cool. It's definitely feeling like fall. I'm very cold-natured. My friends ask me all the time, you know, they want to know if my doctor is concerned about the fact that I'm always cold. And he's not, so that's good. But I must have been cold where I was this weekend because oh, that is not the one I wanted. Because at some point, when I woke up and turned on my computer, ads for sweaters and such popped up. And before I knew it, I had ordered 3 sweaters and a pair of fingerless gloves. So I can't wait for that to arrive. Now I am bringing the ink pad to my stamp for no other reason than the stamp is kind of large, and this way I can see that I'm getting good coverage rather than dropping the stamp all over it. And I am just going to stamp this right about there, I think. Give it just a little even pressure to get a good image. Be careful not to rock your block. And then pick it straight up. This is a photopolymer stamp, which means it's see-through. Now, for the first card, we are going to stamp, and I could pull out the Stamparatus for this, but I think because it's photopolymer that I can see. Okay, I said that. Now I got to figure out how to line this sucker up, don't I? This is the right one. I think I'm going to be able to see where I want to place my filler. 53 in Rhode Island. I don't think it's much warmer here, Joyce. Okay, now what we need to decide is whether we want this full strength or we want it stamped off. And I tend to think we want it stamped off. All right, so I'm going to ink it up. And I've got a lot of ink on here, right? And I'm going to stamp it once. And then I'm going to, in fact, it kind of looks like I've got ink. Oh, come on. I apologize if I've gotten my head in the camera. With a solid image, you need to give this just a second for the ink to transfer. One of my friends taught me to say 4 times, Michelle is great, Michelle is great, Michelle is great. And that's the length of time that you need to let it. Now, feel free to use your own name. You don't have to use my name, although you can if you like. Okay, so even stamped off, got a lot of ink. So I got some ink in the space that I would prefer probably not to get ink, but we're going to work with this. I think that'll be just fine. I'm going to stamp in Poppy Parade, which I did not grab. Hold on, grab that ink. Now the ribbon I have for this is actually not Poppy Parade, but I think it's going to be just fine. So I'm going to grab, here's the label that we cut, and I need to decide which way is right, which way is wrong. Okay, now some of your inks, reds in particular, will stain your photopolymer stamps. That's okay, they're clean. It's just part of the way red ink works. Lovely. So that fit well. It might not be perfectly straight. That's okay. All right, so I need some adhesive. Okay, so I'm just going to grab the Stampin' Seal. Oh my gosh, it made a little mess in here. Come on, there you go. I haven't had any trouble with this until I was working with something that had a little of an uneven surface to it. And now it wants to be a little challenged. So this is really quick and easy stamping. This is a card that you could easily do multiples of, because you could set it up in your Stamparatus. Put this one on one side of the arm, put this one on the other side of the arm, and just stamp them over and over. And you could even use your greeting. It could be on the Stamparatus too. So this would be a card super quick and easy for making multiples. All right, now I need my ribbon. Oh, you know what? My ribbon scissors are over on the other table. See, I think, and it isn't, yeah, this is a real red, but I think it's close enough that we're fine. And I'm going to do a cheater bow, which I almost always do, which just means I don't wrap it around and tie it, because then I have to keep the tension even, and I don't necessarily do that so well. Hello, Linda. How are you, sweet friend? You're probably packing and getting ready, and I don't want to think about that. So I'm not going to. Linda is a bit of a snowbird. She and her husband will head farther south for the winter. And last year, because of COVID, they stayed even longer. And I missed her. All right, I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. All these dimensionals, and they're all minis. Let's see if I can find some. Here's some regular size. Wait a minute, what did I say I was doing? That's not what I meant to do. I'm going to pop this on dimensionals. And I want it to straddle that ribbon. Where do I want this? So I kind of think I should have stamped over a little bit. Okay, the next one we're going to place a little bit farther to the right. I'm going to stamp that image over. Okay. Now for this one, I just slide it under, and I can go ahead and cut this. So Denise, where are you that it's cold? I understand that some of my friends in Michigan had snow. We have a friend from Michigan that's going to come down to see us next week. We won't even entertain the idea of snow here for some time. Really? You know what? The person I'm copying. So I'm casing this from Rachel Kuhn. Oh, you're in Missouri. Okay. That's right. I think you are a friend of my husband's. Is that right? Do you know stories? You got any dirt on them? Oh, come on. This won't untie. Okay, I really should have just cut my ribbon off. All right, I wanted to make a bigger bow. So it's much easier to make a bow when you don't have to keep the tension even. Okay. Now, I didn't do anything with the holly berries yet. And there are little stamps in here for the berries, but I am just going to take my Poppy Parade Stampin' Blend. Boy, that's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? So these are the alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to take the dark Poppy Parade, and I'm just going to color these a little bit. And I haven't decided, but I've got some colored rhinestones that I'm going to add. And I don't know if I'm going to add that to all of them or just some of them. So we'll just decide that as we go. Okay. So there's the front of the card. There we go. Let's trim that just a little. Ooh. Okay, so here's the front. That's card number 1. And I'm going to go ahead and do card number 2, and then we're going to come back and do the inside of the 2 cards, and we'll bling them. We'll add some bling, all right? So, what did I do with... Okay, we all know I had another piece of crumb cake. It's already on the back. Clever, clever, clever. All right. So, and the reason this would be awesome on the Stamparatus is because once you get it placed where you want it on your card front, you just repeat it and just repeat it and just repeat it. So I'm handicapping myself by not using my Stamparatus. But I knew I wanted to do 2 versions of this, and that might take a few minutes. Okay, so this time I want this to be a little farther to the right. And I can't pick up there. And we'll go ahead and stamp this as well, because that's going to be the same. What's different is we're not going to use this stamp with Garden Green. So I'm going to set that over there. Sort of, maybe. Of course, I need to clean it. I didn't clean it yet. Let's put that that memento right there. Joyce, you're on top of making sure I stay on camera, right? Well, pardon my big head. Okay. Now let's see how well the experiment works. Now I don't have Stampin' Blends in Garden Green. That's the color that we used here. So I pulled out, not what I meant to pull out. Sorry. What I meant to pull. Let's make sure this is right. So I've got Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to start down here where, in case we need to go to a different plan, it will be easier. I like to start with the dark blend. I think the kids will trick or treat in Texas. They are going to trick or treat here in Tennessee. And then in our neighborhood, we actually have a party planned for the 30th, kind of in addition. So if you're not comfortable trick-or-treating, you can still participate in this little event. So the Stampin' Blends, this just lets me do a little more shading. So I just came along the lines that Stampin' Up! Has already given me in the stamp, and I'm making that a little darker. And I think I like the way that's going to turn out, so I'm going to keep going. So I've got a pretty bold line here, and then up the middle of the holly. And there'd be a little shadow right there where that leaf is on top of it, on top of this one. Now, I love working with the blends, but keep in mind they do bleed through your cardstock. So I wouldn't want this to be the other side. I'm going to hide that under these two layers so that it doesn't peek through. But I feel like it's a sign of a good coloring job. I've got lots of ink on the other side too. All right. The downside to doing coloring on videos, I feel, is that unless I've prepared it ahead of time and have some magic to pull out, it's not very exciting just watching me color. And I certainly get tired of hearing myself talk. So I'm sure you do also. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about what's coming up in November. So a couple of extra events for the holidays. So I have a tag buffet class that my friend Hope Hardy and I are doing together. And we're going to use the Tag Buffet project kit and offer 4 cards along with it. And we may have some other alternatives to share as well, because the kit makes a lot of tags, and you may not need a lot of tags. You may need more cards or more gift card holders. So we want to share with you some alternates for doing that. And I cannot recall the price right off the top of my head, but that is coming up mid-November, so you'll have plenty of time to use your tags. And then I told you about bingo. So bingo is coming up. Bingo is so much fun. So we're going to make 4 cards, and we'll play 6 rounds of bingo. The prizes are always brand new product. And it's so much fun. We play this via Zoom. So anywhere in the US, you can play along. The cost is $25, and the prizes are usually valued between $20 and $45 each. So it's a heck of a value. The first round we play, we have a loser, and that's so fun. The last time we played this in person was March, and the person that won, the loser was the loser in that first round, also ended up winning that round of actual bingo. So that was too funny. Because the loser is the person that is the last one to have a token on the board. All right, so now let's do our holly berries as well. And so these are really tiny. Shading them is kind of a futile effort, but I'm going to give it my all. So I'm using the dark Poppy Parade and filling them in halfway or so. Oh, guys, you're still so far away. Is that okay, or do you want to come back down? Oh, I'm sorry. It's so choppy. So bingo is a lot of fun. I look so forward to it. I include a little thank you gift. Okay, so I really like that. I think that they're both pretty, and this could easily be taken care of. Let's put this together, and then we'll go back and decorate the inside of the card, and we'll add some more bling to it. So you can see, yep, it definitely bled through. The very first time I offered bingo several years ago, my son, who's now almost 13, was a proxy for his grandmother in Missouri. And he was so fun. He took his job very seriously. And when we took a break and we made cards and we got a snack, and he sat down at his place on the table, hands on the table. Okay, I came here to play. Did y'all come here to talk or to play? Well, it was so cute. He was probably, I don't know. I don't know how long that's been. I have to go back and look how long ago that was. Because we didn't play it for a while. And then we did. All right, and I'm just using glue dots. So I'm just picking up the ends of my ribbon with a glue dot. And I'm just guesstimating, okay, how even that is. And then I'll grab my card base and put this down. This is actually one of the first stamp sets I bought out of the mini catalog. Okay. My vision is much better, but I'm still having some trouble getting things straight. That is my story. And never mind that I've never been really good at getting things straight. I just pretend well. Okay, this time I'm going to put this right here. And then I'm going to put a great big bow on this side. Now, which way is that going to fall? Kind of hard to tell. I'm not very good at guessing that part. This ribbon is It's kind of nice. It kind of holds its shape pretty well. Let's get this end roughly the same length. Okay. So now we have the two versions. Now let's put some bling on them. And what do I have in the way of bling? So I just grabbed this leftover, so this is a sheet of red rhinestones, and this is part of a sheet of holiday rhinestones, and I can see that I'm going to need some more. So let's see what I've got in here. I have, okay, so here's another sheet of the red, and then, okay, here's tons of partials. Okay, and there's even one that looks kind of Coastal Cabana-y. Coastal Cabana-y, is that a real? Okay, so let's put, oh, I need my take your pick tool. Where are you? There you are. Well, okay. Now, let's grab a green one, and we'll see, and let's put it over here, and then let's put these red are a little bit bigger than the red rhinestones, so I'm going to grab one of these for here, and in here, and then maybe one of these gold ones, and put it, I feel like it needs to come over here. We need some balance. Everything's on one side of the card. Okay, I'm going to put it up here. Now, I didn't put any on the holly that are on here, so I'm going to add a little wink of Stella. I love Stella. Stella has just a little bit of shimmer to it, so it's really not even noticeable. I think if I pick it up, even I can't get that to where you can see it. Okay, card number 1. Now let's bling up card number 2, and I'm going to grab a big green one and I'll put it here, and then some of the reds here, and I think here, and then I really think I'm going to use a large Coastal Cabana one and put it here. Okay, so that's card number 2 with a little bit of bling. And I guess it's only fair if it gets some Stella as well, right? Now, we need to do something on the inside of our card. And since we're going to use a liner, we can color, and we can color with our blends. So, no, we might not want to do that with this, where we didn't start out that way, but maybe we will with this one. Or maybe we'll just, I don't know yet. Let's see how we feel. All right, for the inside, I'm just going to do a normal first layer. So I'm cutting this at 5 1/4, and then this side will be 4. And if I was using Designer Series paper, I would probably run a little 3/4 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch strip of that paper along this bottom edge. But that's not what I'm doing for this one, so let's see what we would like to come up with. I feel like we'll stamp the holly again, and The other, the only other greeting that's in here is a joyful Christmas to you. So I don't think I'm going to add a greeting to the inside. I think I'm just going to add one of the designs. So, and I'll just keep the one that I'm working with. And I'm just trying to decide where I want to put that. You could do kind of a mirror. You could do one on the corner of one on each corner, or you could lay it down, or you could hang it up. And you guys might have even other ideas about where you'd like to put that. And I'm going to I want it to run off the card. This will be pretty to make your own designer series paper with too. All right, and I'll go ahead and stamp this one. I may regret this, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp the second one as well. And pretty much the same. So good solid images there. Good strong image. All right, so for one of these, we will use our garden green and fill it. And I'm going to clean this first, and I want to try to keep the ink out of the grooves. And that way you'll have a better idea of how that would turn out. Okay, so I'm just using my chamois to clean it. That's my favorite method for cleaning out my stamps. And the ink, oh, you know what? This is a relatively new style of ink pad, and it opens. It's got this little area here for your thumb. So I just kind of put my thumbs on either side, one kind of on the bottom and one on the top, and pull it apart this way. And then the top slides in. And you'll notice there is a strip of color here too that helps me identify the color that I'm working with. So if you've got several ink pads open on your desk, one, you're braver than I am. I can't do that. But this will help you identify the color that you're about to ink up. And both of those labels are right on the back of your ink pad when you get them. All right, so I don't see it. That looks good. It's not in the crevices. So we're going to stamp off. And then I'm going to try and line it up. And I really should have done this one time with a Stamparatus to share with you. I might have to do that another day. So then that's going to dry a little bit lighter probably. And then we'll add some red to it. And okay, so lots of shades of green to play with here. So don't feel like, oh, that's not your green. There's others. Just pick a different one. Okay, now here is, I don't know why I need to turn this around to color. Oh, I just smudged a little bit. Darn it. Well, that's unfortunate. You might get a different feel for the shading when you see it on white. It might show up a little bit more. And again, I have the Shaded Spruce Blends. And I'm just going back over what I colored in dark, coming back over with the light. Now Linda likes to color, but she colors with ink. She uses a re-inker, puts a dot or two of ink out and paints with that and makes beautiful beautiful cards that way. I like to do that as well, but she's more freehand, more artistic than I am with that. We have an amazing sisterhood of crafters and various talents. And Joyce has a very creative eye. Joyce, how many cards do you create each month? I know you do the card swap, and that can vary with how many are in it. And then you send out cards to our Friday freebie winners. I don't know, that just occurred to me. I have a huge mail out to go tomorrow. Oh, I know what I almost forgot to remind everybody of. So a few weeks ago, I started having a Zoom hangout on Monday night called Monday Moments. There's no structure to it. Just come, hang out with a beverage, whatever you're working on, and we'll just, enjoy some time of fellowship. And why on earth, Michelle, do you do all of this on Mondays? Well, Monday is the day that I'm least likely to have my granddaughter. I'll still have her some Mondays, but not every Monday. I really smudged that. And here's another really bold line. So if you came on late and you didn't hear, please let me know that you've shared and liked my video. I'm going to have to start doing some drawings and giveaways, and I'd really love to have you participate in that. And that could be an embellishment, or it might be some handmade cards. I'd also like to send the cards that I make as my samples in my videos. So comment and let me know if you'd like to receive the cards that I'm making today. And I can send out these two. If I need to draw a winner, 2 winners, I can do that. Where last week our winner is Cindy Kessinger. So congratulations, Cindy. I have a Halloween card to send you. And I know Joyce has already indicated that she'd like to receive this. So we'll see if anybody else would as well. I'd love it if you do receive a card or a prize, if you take a selfie with it and share it on Facebook or Instagram and tag me with it. That would be amazing. Word of mouth, so to speak, is the best marketing I could ask for. Okay, so let's put this in here. Now there is a Zoom link in this page, right? If you can't find the Zoom link and you'd like to join us this evening, please let me know and I will help direct. I'll try and make it an announcement so that it's up at the top. Okay, so here's the inside. Here's the outside, and here's the inside. So this card we did 2-step stamping. Remember, we stamped the outline and then we stamped the fill color. And then this one we stamped the outline and then we colored it with Stampin' Blends. And you can tell because there's some bleed over. So if this had not been a separate layer, I would not have used Stampin' Blends because then it would show up on the back of the card. But in tomorrow's big mailing, I'm sending out something to every member of my team because we had an amazing year last year. The Stampin' Up! Year just ended. I am blessed to have earned the incentive trip to Maui. So my husband and my 12-year-old and I are going to go to Hawaii next year. All expenses paid on Stampin' Up! And my team is a huge part of making that happen. So I'm going to send a little happy mail their way, and that's going out tomorrow in addition to some of these cards. I'll send Cindy her card from last week, and we'll get going. So watch for my newsletter with the November events coming up, and be sure and RSVP. You don't want to miss out on bingo. It usually sells out, and because I've only got 24 spots. So, all right, here are today's cards. I hope that you enjoyed them. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that I'll see you back here at 7 o'clock tonight. Take care. Bye-bye.